Good evening and welcome to Silicon Valley Health Institute. Any first-time visitors? Oh, yay. Welcome. Hope to see you back every month. We're here every third Thursday of the month. We bring world-class speakers and deliver the greatest and best information on health technology. So we hope you enjoy the evening. We're a nonprofit, 501c3. So we run on your donations and memberships. Memberships are $60 a year and or $10 at the door here. So we appreciate your support. If you have any cell phones, please make sure they're on silent. And if you need to take a call during the speaking, please take it outside so we can keep focused on our speakers. Appreciate that. And if you have any issues with EMFs, then you can just turn them off. All right, so the location of our restrooms are down the hall and to the left about 100 yards, so it's a good exercise. We'll have a break about 10 minutes to 9, somewhere around there, for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back for the second speaker. So in the beginning here, we have what we call a forum, and we open it up. We have several practitioners. My name's Robert Miller. I've been on the board about 6 years and been studying in the health field for about 30, so happy to answer any questions and then call on some of our people, our technical director and our speakers as solutions and answers too, so get some good info. Does anybody have any announcements of any events or anything that's coming up in the near future that we could, okay. Hold on. One important thing is that we videotape these, so yeah, wait for the mic. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Actually, it's a past event that I went to, and the reason I mention it, you can go to our website. Her name is Brandy Vaughan, and she used to work for Merck. And she's a whistleblower, so she takes a lot of risk to do that. And now if I can summarize what I learned in this event, Merck doesn't want us to be healthy. So mainly she talks about vaccines and how actually they inject us with disease so they can sell more medication and keep us sick. You don't have to believe me, but she has a website. I wanted to announce that. It's called learntherisk.org, and you can talk to me later if you want. I have some more information about it. I don't know if you're aware of SB 276 that just passed. You are? Okay. So right now the government is going to be involved in taking medical exemptions from people who had reaction to vaccine and have a medical exemption from doctors. My son had a reaction in the past and he has a medical exemption. In the future, doctor will have problems giving medical exemptions because the government is going to look at them. So if you have any question about that, but right now the problem, we are 1% fighting this. And we need more people to speak up. I was one of the crazy women in Sacramento knocking on doors at the Senate while they were passing these bills. And we do look like crazy women, and they don't listen to us because we're only 1%. So we need to start speaking up, and I know it's not very it's very controversial when you talk about vaccination because Merck, it's not just Merck, big pharmas own the media, so they already, they're brainwashing people through the media. So anyway, if you need more information, please come talk to me later. Thank you.
Any other comments on that? I'm sure there might be a few, but... Oh, learntherisk.org. Oh, hold on.
Is it learn the risk?
Yeah, learn the, T-H-E, risk.org. Okay, so the floor is open. Oh, did you have something else you wanted to add? Oh.
I was wondering if anybody knows of a practitioner that is local, who is an expert and has a lot of experience with frequency-specific microcurrent, FSM, and PEMF, pulse electromagnetic frequencies. I know of somebody up in Seattle who's excellent, and there's a few people across the country, but I don't know of anybody locally who really knows what they're doing and has a lot of experience.
Avi, do you? Okay, hold on.
Phil Jacqueline here. It's nice to see the organization doing so well. Susan has done a great job since she took over, and it's nice to see some familiar faces. I just wanted to call your attention to something which I know will strike you as incredible. It struck me as incredible, but I did a lot of research on it just a week ago, and it's all on the up and up. And that is that something reported first by Jonathan Wright, the newsletter I got, and he referred to the newsletter that David Williams has put out for many years. And Jonathan Wright is one of my heroes, so you know he doesn't exaggerate, shall I say? He's always got good research behind what he does. Anyway, he referred to this David Williams newsletter, and in the David Williams newsletter, David Williams reports that the drug that has been used for 50 years to cure tapeworms has been found to also cure most cancers. Now I thought, that is so far out. If anybody except Jonathan Wright had told me that, I wouldn't even bother to investigate it. But I did investigate it, and I found a great review article by some Italian radiologists who said it went really well with, the drug went really well with radiation. This is a drug, by the way, which is off patent, very cheap, and almost totally non-toxic. Occasionally someone gets diarrhea. Is the name, there's several drugs in this family. I can name a couple of them for you, but they're basically, it's very easy to find David Williams' newsletter on this subject. It was the September 2019 newsletter, David Williams, and I really recommend that you all take a look at it. It's the kind of thing that only proves once again that conventional medicine is all about money, and if there's no money in it, you're not going to hear about it from a conventional doctor, because the conventional doctor himself doesn't know about it. He assumes that everything that's worth knowing is taught in his medical school, which, of course, we know isn't true.
Okay. I want to finish up on the EMF question. Does anybody know any local practitioners that are doing PEMF or EMF? Do you have a comment, Avi?
Yes, well, we haven't explored FSM, but we do have a formally trained PEMF expert at the office. So we do. And our office is in San Francisco, though, not local to here. And so it's listed on there.
As Dr. Herskowitz will tell you, he has a lot of modalities, great experts at his clinic. I'm really looking forward to his talk.
I know two FSM PTs. I'd be happy to tell you afterwards. If she, one's Martha Plessia in Sunnyvale, and another one is Christine Koth over in Walnut Creek, I want to say.
Can you say those names again?
Go ahead and repeat it if you don't mind.
Martha Plessia is very good in Sunnyvale, Plescia, and I think the other one is Christine Koth, Koth, and I think she's in Walnut Creek, somewhere on the East Bay.
Thank you very much. All right, so got about another 8 or 9 minutes here, so any questions? I don't know who was first, so.
Yes, I had a question. I had heard that it's not good to keep a cell phone in your pants pocket or on a pouch on your belt. for much of the day, and I was wondering how this would affect your health if it's correct.
Susan, did you get that question? Okay, hold on. Hold on.
So, as from what my name's Daniel. So, from what I understand, the question is there any health risk of having a cell phone on your body, touching your body? Is that in your pocket, anywhere on your body? And so, the answer is that there's so much science and studies that show that there is a really significant risk, but it depends on also who you are, if you have any symptoms. So in my way of thinking, by the time you get a symptom, you've already developed a disease. So so what I was saying is that, the 2G, the 3G, and the 4G can cause a lot of problems. There's, for children, they have lower IQs and don't do as well socially or in school. There's a problem with spermatogenesis. That means if you're a man and you have it in your pocket, you make less sperm, and they're not as so healthy. And women that carry that on their breast, they've developed tumors, especially on the outer side where the lymphatics are. And the list goes on and on and on and on, and it has something to do probably with mast cell activation syndrome and altered calcium currents in your neurons, and it's pretty nasty. So the rule of thumb is don't have your cell phone touching your body, and keep it on airplane mode as much as you can, and have a sleep sanctuary where you don't have your cell phone at all. And if you're very sensitive, like there are a few people in the room, in this room, they can tell you more about it. It makes them very sick, and they're more aware of their bodies than the rest of us. So that would be a simple answer, don't. And when you put it on airplane mode, make sure your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are off also. And it's best to just turn it off completely. There's another hand over there. I don't know if that was understandable.
That was good, thank you. Yeah, I guess the news is that it's the largest experiment in human history, but the bad news is it's not good.
Yeah, Hardell in Sweden has done studies, and either cell phone use or the wireless phone, what do you call it, the cordless phone in the house, that they are associated with acoustic neuroma and glioblastoma, and they almost think it's causative and dose related. Hugh Taylor in Yale and Suleiman in Turkey independently did studies. You put a cell phone on a pregnant abdomen of a rodent, and the offspring have brain changes. It opens up the blood-brain barrier like glyphosate. It opens up the gut like glyphosate. And we all know what happens when you open up the gut or the blood-brain barrier. And as he said, it affects the sperm, so they're defective and fewer. And it's just affecting everything. And when 5G comes in, apparently that resonates at all the frequencies, including the frequency of our DNA. I'm told that the military has been studying which frequencies can cause which disease. The 5G will be able to spy on us any single time. I've interviewed Swiss farmers who all got sick with their animals and plants when the cell towers went in. And then I interviewed a gentleman, Innocente Mussolini, who won his Italian Supreme Court case that his brain tumor was caused by cell phones. If one person's, the studies really don't show that it's safe. I mean, the studies that are done by the industry tend to be very quick and tend to say, oh, these things are great. The independent studies say that there's a risk. And I think the American Toxicology Study, I think it was over 20 years, $30 million here in the U.S. at the request of the FDA. I think it shows that it's associated with glioblastomas and heart schwannomas. But have you heard anything about that?
Okay, another question here.
My objective here is for people that have disease processes ongoing and are searching for answers, to not give up. There's always something, I believe, that's outside of mainstream medicine. And I believe I'm an example of that. I was able to put off a prostate biopsy, in my opinion, because I got injected with ozone therapy, and I also had the in the vein autohemotherapy. So it went from a little over a 6 to a 4, and now I don't need another PSA for a year, and I don't need to have a biopsy, which obviously, you know, the PSA is in question, very controversial. Please don't give up, keep searching.
Thank you. I remember back in the 90s, I can't remember his first name, but I think it was Dr. Brady. He said one time, he said that usually natural approaches have better results than medicine, and that usually, as she just said, you're usually getting sicker with toxic drugs. So. Okay. All right. Other questions? I have a question. I'm kind of curious. How many of you are familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy? Yay. All right. So it's rising. What kind of experiences have you had? Have you had any luck with any, or do you have any recommendations?
Quick answer is that CBT gives you a big framework. It's supposed to be very short and give you strategies, but for complicated, complex things, it's really not enough by any means.
Any experts that you guys know of? I read a little bit. I'm actually looking forward to B.J. Fogg's book. Are you familiar with B.J. Fogg? He's a interesting guy. I think it's well, it's actually called Tiny Habits. But if you just Google B.J. Fogg, I'm sure he's the only B.J. Fogg out there. Yeah, he does. Yeah. He's got a few books. Any other experts out there that you guys know of that you'd recommend? Okay. It's not a matter of treating. I think it's just more the behavioral change aspect.
So if someone has like a personality disorder, not that we believe in the DSM-5, but a DBT is better dialectic behavioral therapy. And so it depends on like what you're treating. If you're treating PTSD, there's really no drug for that. So energetic work or somatic therapy or something like that would be helpful. So it depends on what exactly you're treating. And talk therapy, which is CBT, usually doesn't do much for a lot of the common psychologic disorders, and that medicines don't either. Traditional, maybe the psychedelics do, but the talk therapy just is really limited, but it's a good framework and it can get you out of a jam.
Hold on.
Is there a specific behavior that you're referring to that you want to change?
Well, how many of us know what we should be doing and still don't do it? Wait, nobody? Okay.
So I would look so most psychologists are pretty thoroughly trained in CBT therapy, and MFTs also, as well as LCSWs, but particularly psychologists get a lot of cognitive. There are tons in this area that are very good at it. Stanford has various iterations in departments where they do it. I would look up David Burns, who is a big CBT guy, and the founder, I forget his name right now, maybe somebody can remember that, online, because they would also have referrals to people that have specifically been trained by them. It's probably the most common therapy around, and lots of people are very good at it. You probably would want somebody who specifically also has a health background, so somebody like a psychologist who's in a medical setting or has a medical background. So the combination of the two can be pretty powerful for behavioral change. And certainly it gives you lots of strategies and skills.
Thank you. All right, time for our first speaker.